So good afternoon, March the 14th, 2014. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 9, week number 5. So let's get started. Welcome back, good afternoon, very much appreciated because now it's Friday afternoon at 5:30 and you're kind enough to come back to school. So I really want to introduce something. Actually, I have to hear a movie tonight. Not now, at 7:30. Okay. All right. So may I have your attention, please? When you look at the widescreen now, you see that as I promised on last Tuesday, or better say this past Tuesday, you will have a questionnaire. This is the questionnaire called Student Learning Experience Questionnaire for your learning contract number 1. So if you come to this questionnaire, you need to understand the meaning, why you need to do a questionnaire. It's very important that as a teacher, I need to design into this course something you need to do in order to learn something. Now in the past 4 weeks, I have invite you to start off this learning process by working on your learning contract number 1, which includes a number of activities. But the essential activity is you need to look for what you need to study every week in your reading list. Okay? And after you have got a topic in your reading list, for example, in a journal study, you need to go through the OIA process. Now, it's not easy, and if you're not used to doing it, it's very cumbersome, and sometimes it's very time-consuming. So, when we step into the second learning contract, our theme switched from inquiry-based learning to self-regulated learning, but we're not saying bye-bye to inquiry-based learning. We're actually building on top of inquiry-based learning for something more. But that something more has been expressed in this week's teacher's message. And if you finish doing this questionnaire, you should have a better picture of what kind of learning experience have you gone through. So it's very important that today, thank you very much. I could have a little bit more time because no one seems to have signed up for sharing today. Right? So we are going to walk you through this questionnaire, and you're obliged to complete this questionnaire before the end of this Sunday. Okay? That way, we could share with you to discover, finding your opinions about this past 4 weeks. So let's go to the questionnaire. You need to go to the questionnaire by clicking on this link. Okay? And then, I can see so far 2 of you have finished completing the questionnaire. Or if you have not finished completing it, but only part of it, go back to complete it, okay? So, I want to share with you the questionnaire. So let me see. Here's the questionnaire. Period of the questions, okay? So let me walk you through what you need to go through. I have designed this questionnaire using the Likert scale, the 5-point scale. In other words, you are invited to express your opinion based on the do you agree question tag. And you have 6 choices: strongly disagree, disagree, slightly disagree, slightly agree, or strongly agree. Okay, depending on how you feel about the past 4 weeks. And the other questions in this questionnaire help me to collect some of your feedback on what this course is like, and what do you like most, what do you dislike most, okay? What do you want to change, okay, towards the end. But let's walk you through systematically, because that is a very scientific method for teachers to look for students' feedback. Do you agree, the first question said, your learning experience so far, the first 4 weeks in this general education course has been designed and rendered, that means given to you, consistently with the GE program intended learning outcomes. That is what we call the PILOs. Where can you find this? Page 9 of the GE handbook. So this question required you study a little bit about the GE handbook, at least page 9, and you know something about the PILO, this GE program, and then you try to match what is stated there in the GE handbook, the PILO, with your learning experience in the past 4 weeks. And then you try to answer this question. Do you agree? Okay? And you can give any one of this. Pick one. Okay? It's a scientific inquiry on the part of the teacher. The second one is, do you agree that your learning experience so far in this general education course has been designed and rendered consistently according to the course learning objectives? How many course learning objectives do we have here? Did you bring your syllabus with you? I gave you at the very beginning. If not, it's okay. You can just click into the link over there, and then you can see the PDF versions of the syllabus. Okay? So in this particular question, we expect that you know the 3 important course learning objectives in this particular course. CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, with 3 CLOs, okay? And then the third question asked of you, do you agree that your learning experience so far in this general education course has been decided and rendered consistently, now this is a key word, consistently, according to, look, course intended learning outcomes. So the 3 questions are essentially the same, but each of the questions focuses on a specific aspect of this course. The first, general education PILOs. Okay? The second, course learning objectives. The third question, course intended learning outcomes. Where can you find this course intended learning outcomes? In the syllabus that you pick up from the first day of class from the Moodle side by clicking into the syllabus link. Okay? So you need to study what are the course intended learning outcomes are in this course, or better say you need to review them. Alright? Question number 4, a little bit different. Do you agree that this general education course has been delivered? What is meant by deliver? The traditional mode of delivery in the course is by lecture. Okay? But in this course, how is it being delivered? Now you can tell me by looking back to the past 4 weeks. Okay? Has been delivered so far up to this point according to the course schedule as stated in the published syllabus. What is meant by course schedule? You have 14 to 15 weeks in the semester. In the syllabus, you see a very brief schedule which tells you which weeks are you going to do what topics. Okay? So you understand that. And question number 5 asks you a very frank question. Have you studied our general education handbook as suggested by the instructor in the first day of class? Have you studied? Okay? Then you better say that to yourself. And if you have not studied it, at least you flip it over before you finish this question. Okay? You have to do that because otherwise you do not understand the reasons behind doing something. Alright? And then, have you studied the course syllabus as suggested by the teacher in the first day of class. You take a hard copy, right? Have you studied how many pages are there in the syllabus? Do you remember? How many parts in the syllabus? Do you remember? Okay? Right? So, question number 7. Which part or parts of the course syllabus have you studied very pinpoint as suggested by the instructor in the first day of class? Check all the time. So you got the answer to the previous one here. Alright? So we have A, B, C, D, and E. Which part or parts have you studied? Okay, you tell us. And then, this is an interesting question. Which part of the course syllabus do you find most difficult to understand? Which part of the course syllabus do you find most difficult to understand? Do you have this experience in your past course study? You never studied the syllabus, you never know what is required of you, and well, you know what? I still got an A. Have you ever tried that? Okay. It's possible if the whole course is evaluated based on a final exam, and you come to write the final exam and you got 100%. But is it good? One final exam for all. A lot of students like it. Okay? But many students who would like to really learn something on the road may not like it because it's too risky. Okay, it's too risky. Alright, now, and then look at these. What or which part of the syllabus do you find most difficult to understand? Help me to understand how you think about the syllabus. Okay? Because there are 5 different parts of the syllabus. And principally, all the parts are important. But you may not need to know them all at one point of time. Right? A lot of these, you need to come to it when you have to do something. Okay? Mostly, you must have finished reading part A. Okay? You want to know how can I get my score, right? How many pieces of homework we need to do. But that is not the major objective, I'm sorry. Okay, then let's go to question 9, 10, and 11. Have you studied the Moodle course site as suggested by the instructor? Let me ask you this question. How many of you have never come to the Moodle website? Is it possible? All of you here, I believe, have come to the Moodle website because you submit your work. Alright? If you ever submit your work, you must have come to the Moodle website. So, but I will ask this question. Okay. And how do I ask it? Look at that. I want you to give me one choice out of this. Because we have 15 weeks of materials over there, and each week is represented by one block in the Moodle environment. How many blocks have you ever studied? I want you to choose one of them. Okay? Student learning experience question number 10. Do you agree that having studied the General Education Handbook, okay, could help you understand better the course learning design according to the published syllabus? So what is required of you in this question? You must have studied the GE handbook, alright? You must have studied the syllabus before you can make the decisions on that. Yeah, this is different, this true, alright? So, and then question number 11. Do you agree that having studied the published course syllabus, including, look at this word, very interesting, course design philosophy, okay, could help you understand better the day-by-day classroom activities and the online activities journaling there, discussion video over there of this course. What does it mean by course design philosophy? How many of you have a hard copy of the syllabus here? Thank you very much. At least I have one supporter. Okay. All right. So can you flip it over? Flip over the syllabus. And there is one part in the syllabus which tells you something about course design philosophy. Can you help remind us which part of the syllabus? Give us something like this. Page, course design philosophy. Flip it over. Yes. We're almost there. Page 6. Wow, that's good. Can you help read this out for us one after the other? Yes.
Develop student responsibility in active learning.
Develop students' responsibility in active learning. What does it mean? You know what to do in class and at home, that means in order to learn, right? Second,
make learning meaningful to student future study or vocational goals.
That's great. Make learnings meaningful for students' future study and vocational goals. That means make it useful for you when you study the next course or when you go out to work. What you have learned in this course will be good for you. Okay? Number 3.
Promote overt knowledge construction with down-to-earth practice.
Promote overt knowledge constructions with down-to-earth practices. Overt means you need to do it explicitly. Okay? For example, writing out a piece of essay, or speaking in front of the class, or looking for information from the website. Down to earth means practical. Okay, practical. In Chinese, 腳踏實地. Practices, something you need to do. Okay, so you have to practice telling someone something you learn after you have worked something out. And that something is perhaps your experiential learning. Okay? Okay, last one.
Perform learner assignment to stimulate further learning.
Perform learner assessment to stimulate further learning. That means you know how to give yourself a basic evaluation based on the rubrics we suggest. Why do you need to do that? You know how to improve on yourself. Remember, I tell you, you need to write the first versions of the journal, discuss it with your friend, you got the second version, which is an intermediate product, and then move on with the discussion to create a report, so it's the third versions, and finally write a blog, which is simplified versions. Okay, something like this. Thank you very much. This is the course design philosophy. Now you need to look into the syllabus to understand it. And if you understand the meaning of this design philosophy, do you agree that can help you understand better the day-by-day classroom and online activity of this course, so you can provide your choice there, okay? And question number 12, very good. Do you agree the published syllabus, including the OBTL details, okay, flip the syllabus to see if you can find something called OBTL, has been well organized to help you understand better the day-by-day classroom and online activities. So, can I invite you to take a look at the OBTL details? What are the core items there? OBTL, outcome-based teaching and learning. You can find that there's something called TLA. What is meant by TLA? The teaching and learning activity. For example, the teacher will come here, give you an introduction to the topic, and then he will show you a video. And you watch the video, you put something down in your piece of notepad paper, and then you discuss, you share with your partner, So the first part is teaching, the second part is learning. Learning for yourself and with your learning partner. This is an example of teaching a learning activity. What it stay there? Short lecture, student classroom discussions, and can you read that out for us? TLA, example of TLA. Details. Can you try to tell us something about it? Use the microphone. Don't miss either when you do it. Okay. So what are the OBTL, the TLAs? One.
Lectures.
Lectures, you know that. Second.
Small group discussion.
Do you have it? Right now you're doing it already in your table. Number three.
Students in classroom.
Okay, such as when you come here to do sharing, you ask for your students' feedback and
Online activities.
any writing journal, forum discussions, right? And
Outside classroom activities.
okay, have you ever had meetings outside the classroom with your learning partner? Okay, example. And following,
Learning by doing activities.
have you ever written a report based on the material discovered and discussed? Okay? Do you understand the meaning of that, right? So you know the meaning of TLA. So the basic idea of OBTL is we have a set of TLA and then we have a set of assessment tasks. Okay? So when you go on, read the syllabus to understand those. It's very important that I have to walk you through that by giving you a question there, because otherwise you will not understand as much as what is expected. Now, question number 13. Do you agree that the blended learning, okay, face-to-face together with online format of course delivery as practiced in this GE course, while the UN Buddha side, okay, has been helpful to your understanding the day-by-day classroom learning through discussion activities of this G course. So, do you feel the difference in this course? I do not seem to lecture at all. I do not need to lecture you topic by topic, because all the information, which is much better than my lecture, is already in the Moodle website week by week, topic by topic. Now the question, I did not include here, but I want to tell you, if you are that kind of person, as remember I asked you what kind of learner are you last time. If you are that kind of person, you very much rely on the taught to learn model. Taught to learn means the teacher must tell you something specifically based on the book or the chapter. Where can you find help in the Moodle environment? Where can you find help? How many learning contracts do we have? 3. Under each learning contract, at the very beginning of each week's block, what do you see? Every week you can see something. Yes. You can check, Okay? Can you check? Alright. So if you discover that there is something called learning practice for learning contract 1, learning practice for learning contract 2, learning practice for learning contract 3. These are excellent resources that guide you through your learning process in a traditional curriculum manner. Okay? But other than that, I did not seem to put a lot of emphasis on this. Why? Why? Because you can always do that, but you do not always have the exchange of interactions in class as we have tried the maximum that time for you to speak. Remember, if you want to speak, you will have the time in class. And I have sacrificed the traditional classroom, this is what we call coverage time for that. Because the coverage time you can always do at home by going through the learning practice. So Blended learning means there are several ways for you to learn that something, and two important ways: face-to-face interactions in class and online interactions between you and the material, between you and the learning partner, between you and the teacher. You also discover that there is a Dr. Watt's Q&A hotline in each room. Have you used them? Many of you did. Okay, I answered questions already. So this is an example of blended learning. Do you remember we do have a video in class which talks about blended learning? Last time. Have you studied the other videos on blended learning? Okay, maybe if we have time we can go through one today. So this is question 13. 14. Do you agree, very similar, that the electronic resources provided weekly in the Moodle environment are helpful for you to understand the context and content of this course? Now, remember, there is something very important here you need to understand. Usually, in the traditional course, we are very much concerned with content. But in this course, it's the context. What's the difference? Have you heard the story? Do you want to eat fish? Sure. Do you prefer me to cook a fish for you, or I give you a fishing rod so you can fish what you want? In the traditional classroom, the teacher's job is to provide a good fish for you to eat. That's the content. But if I hand you a fishing rod, I'm giving you a context and giving you opportunity to design sets of learning opportunity for your fishing and eating. All right, that's the difference. So the context in this course is what? Remember, each week there is something called before class activity. There is something called during class activity. There is something called after class activity, and there is something called end of week activity. And the teacher has been not wide enough. On every Saturday, he is going to send you a reminder called Learn to Learn Reminder, keeping you in touch with all this every week. So far, you check it. And on every Sunday, I give you a new teacher's message, which is next week's before class, during class, after class, and end of week. Have you ever studied that? Okay, anyway, it's there, right? So these are weekly electronic resources, okay? And then the format. Question number 15. Do you agree that the weekly dual format, that means two ways, of interactive lecture? When I lecture, I often give you the microphone. What do you think? So I'm listening to your feedback. And then we have students sharing in class. These mix the format. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. As practice in this class since week number 1 could facilitate your understanding that again context and content of this course. Now you need to think about this. Okay? Question number 16. Very similar. I'm giving you a bunch of choices, but you can only select one. How many weeks of electronic resources have you actually examined since the beginning of the semester to facilitate your understanding, again, the context and content of this course? Okay? So you have to pick one based on your personal experience. Question number 17, 18, and 19, simple. Do you agree in this GE course you will help to participate more actively in class? How? In what way? Do I believe? Because when I ask this question, I must have done something in this class to give you a chance to participate actively. In what way? At the end of every second class in the week, what did I do? I sent out a call for student sharing. And based on that call, you can reply. And then you will secure a slot to share the class. And what do you gain in return? You can keep a record of your participations, and you can use the record to gain your, better say, to earn your score. How many score can you earn totally in a semester? 20%, right? Is it good enough? May not be for many students. So you have other ideas which is much better. For example, I received one proposal last class. The student said, if you could just give us, in Chinese, a pack of gamlong on each table, and let us open it in every class, and you set some exercise for us to do, and we can complete. I'm thinking about this. So maybe next week when you come up here, I will put something here, and you open up, look at the long door, and you come here, lucky Joe, and you come back to some activity, and in 1 hour's time you finish the activity. And that is more participations. Well, anyway, you have to do it in such a way without any pressure. You must do it in such a way you feel comfortable. Okay? Do you really like it? We can try. Don't worry much about it. In the US, we call it, it's a studio classroom, and it's being practiced in the primary school children. How do we do studio classroom? Activity-based. But no matter which type of activity you select, okay, you need to do, a group of students need to do the following. There is a camera there, okay, and there is a whiteboard there, an electronic whiteboard. They need to finish a set of activity. Maybe if it's an algebra, you need to finish working out an algebra solution. Go to the whiteboard, do a recording of everything you write on the whiteboard, print it as a video. And then you ask a member of your student to go to the screen and say, we did the first, which is an algebra question. Look, this is the playback of our work. And then take the video. And then the two of them will come to discussion of something. And at the end of the discussion, they go to the video. This is the end of our discussion. Let us tell you what we discovered. And then one say, the other respond in front of the camera. Okay? They have episodic activities like this. So it's very fun for them. They're actually doing a lot of things. Okay? So this is one way to participate actively in class, as suggested by some students. And then question number 18. Do you agree that these GE courses helped you develop your own independent learning? I remember the last time you learned the term independent learning must be in your ELC course. Because in the ELC they have the website called Independent Learning Site, right? So what does it mean by independent learning? You can go there at your own time, select the topic of interest, you complete the exercise there, and you ask yourself the question, do I understand it? Okay? And you take what you have learned over there, and you go to the next module, and you accumulate the knowledge there. Okay? But in this course, we emphasize on what? So far, do you have a choice to submit which journals out of 4? Do you have a choice when you have decided which journal to do, what questions to do? If it's more than one question, you just need to choose one, right? Do you have a choice when you have selected which journal to do, which questions to do? Under that question, how many items you can choose? At least some items, right? You choose one item to do your investigations, right? Do you remember all of these? Are these characteristics of independent learning? Okay, I got some support now. Thank you. And then question number 19. Do you agree that this GE course helped you understand the related knowledge applications in everyday life situations? How many specific knowledge nuggets have you picked up in this course which could help you apply in your daily life in the context of information and security and privacy? Have you picked up some? You also need to share, right? We need to have some examples, but many are coming, okay? Questions number 20. Do you agree that this GE course could help you think critically about the course topic? Now, think a little bit more. What is meant by think critically? Many people misunderstand that by saying that think critically means I'm going to pick on my partner. Whatever he said, I would say, this is no good because of that, this is no good because of that. Does that mean it's critical thinking? No. When we talk about critical thinking, we are not talking on being fault picking. We are not doing fault picking. We are doing constructive thinking together with your partner by looking into something from an angle from which your partner may not notice that. For example, if this is something, I can look at it from this angle, from the top, I can look at it from this angle, from the back, or bottom, right, and left. You try to show to your partner a much more holistic picture of what this means by reading your partner's material in such a way that your comments could benefit your partner. Because you're helping your partner to think better, to put things into perspective. That is the meaning. And in the process of doing that, you will discover that your ability to capture information will be raised because you practice it. Okay? For example, yesterday I used a very interesting example. Today the doorway has been stolen. Okay. If I want to ask a simple question, how can you tell if the bottle that Thomas is holding is full, empty, or half empty? How do you know? Can you tell me? How can you think about it? How can you give this answer? Because it's very good, because you cannot see it. There is a plastic wrapper around it, okay? Only Thomas can tell you how much is left. But now, let's try to do practical thinking. Can you offer a method for us to tell by looking into this bottle from a distance that I could give you an estimate of the amount of liquid inside? Okay, what can we do? You have asked a very good question. Now, the question is very simple. What can you do to give an answer that is how much liquid is left in this bottle? Is it full? Is it empty? Is it half full? Or is it half empty? What can you do to give an answer to that? Now, many suggestion is we cannot touch it. Okay, what do you think? Take it to get the weight, okay? Now, what do you think of this comment compared to Manny's comment? In Manny's comment, her immediate response is, we cannot touch it. And in immediate response is, we can weigh it. Do you find some difference between these two comments? Which one is closer to solving the problem? Okay, element of course. Okay, now, may I have the third feedback? What can we do to tell if this bottle is full, empty, half full, or half empty? Yes, Julian. Ask Thomas. Bingo. Right? Direct, straight. So when we look back on the suggestions, we are trying to understand what is important in answering this question. When I ask the question, I say, what can you do to give an answer to tell if this bottle is full, empty, half full, half empty, right? I ask, what can you do, right? So this is a very interesting way, example of critical thinking. Well, we can also look back on this, because this is exactly question number 21. Do you agree this GE course can help you develop your communication skills? Not just reading, writing, or speaking. Communication skill. Okay? What do you have in this course throughout the semester that might be a little bit different from other courses? You have a learning partner. So what is a learning partner for? Now, towards the end of this month, your pair has to merge with another pair at your own choice to form a team. That means normally you're 4 persons per team, and beside your learning partner, you have 2 others to interact with. To do what? Communications. Okay? And question number 22. Do you agree that the instructor of this course can help you learn to learn in this course? And what does it mean by learn to learn? I cannot just say, that's me help you. I have magic. Now learn to learn. Can I do that? Something like that? But this is what you are doing in secondary school in every class. The teacher stand up here and say, learn. I am talking. What have you learned so far? Okay, you see the meaning of that. Question number 23. Which item below have you completed and submitted for learning contract 001? As expected by the instructor in this assignment, check all of them at time. Of course, I expect to check all, right? I hope so. How many of you have not submitted all 6 items? No hands raised? Okay, good. I expect I got all of these, right? Have you measured the amount of time you spend completing these learning contracts? That means preparing the artifacts for a submission. Yes or no? Very simple. Then the next question, how much time per week have you spent completing the learning contract 001 in the past 4 weeks? How much time? You may say, no data first week, no data second week. You know what it means by no data, right? Well, say 1 hour the third week, say 3 hours the last week. It's very up to you. But this is for you to give me an average, okay? Then questions number 26. If you have the data, how many hours have you actually spent in completing the learning contracts altogether? All right? And question number 27. How many journals have you completed in the period of learning contract 001? Check all of that time, okay? Maybe 1 or maybe 2, okay? And question number 28. From which week's journal, the reading list, okay? Have you chosen your topic to discuss with your learning partner? You can tell me. And question number 29. Again, what is your chosen topic for discussions with your learning partner? Provide which week's reading list, which questions from that reading list, and which item under the questions have you chosen. Okay? This is something you know that. Questions number 30, because in the first learning contract, we elaborated on inquiry-based learning, I want you to describe briefly for me how is inquiry-based learning is done and practiced during the 4 weeks of this first learning contract. And what are the core learning activities in inquiry-based learning that you experience in this period? Okay? Think, look back, and write it down. I guarantee you that it may not be consistent. Questions number 31. What did you like most about this course? For example, design and content of this course so far. What did you like most? Okay? And questions number 32. What do you think needs to change in the design and content of this GE course? I know there is one item I cannot miss. No homework, sir. No learning contracts. No journal, sir. Okay, let's just take it for granted. But what if no such activity, but you still can figure out one important thing that you and I can do so that you can learn all what we expect? Just write it down, okay? It's your time to tell the whole class what we can do, because next week after you finish it, I'm going to share it with the whole class. That's the way how we run the class, okay? I don't dictate, I collect feedback, okay? And let's try to see if they are reasonable, all right? Because I'm the chief designer for the learning activity to offer you something to try. But I may not be right, okay? I'm just asking for your feedback. This is very important that we install questionnaire like this. So these, make sure you finish this questionnaire before the end of this Sunday, okay? So that I can share with the whole class. Don't worry, it's anonymous. Questionnaire like this is anonymous. No one knows who you are, okay? So you can tell, all right? So let's come back to a little bit on teacher's message at the beginning of the week. So I've just finished the questionnaire, which I mentioned in my teacher's message this week. But I want to bring you back to the concept of self-regulated learning. As I mentioned, it is based on inquiry-based learning, but have something more. So what are those something more you need to pay attention to? Remember, in the following 3 weeks, actually now the first week is over, 2 more weeks, you are going to learn to acquire the following abilities in task management. Task management is something very important. A task is a job to do, a piece of work you need to finish. How do you manage to finish the work? Okay, the 4 important areas I want you to learn. First of all, is do you have the ability to analyze an assignment, to determine what needs to be done? Okay? Sir, do we have to do it because just like in the last learning contract, you tell us that we need to prepare the following artifact, so we prepare the artifact and then we submit to you. Right. Artifacts are not much different. You have to prepare something similar. But in the process of preparing your artifacts in the first learning contract, when you go back to after you have selected an interested topic, which is normally a question, you need to go through the list of information items and you select one out of many. Or some of you will select 2 out of many, but at least one. The question is, how can I select? Do I have to read all the items first and then I come back to select? Is it possible? When you read all of them, it's already a very time-consuming process. But if I do not read them, how can I know what I'm selecting? So it's something between, if I read them all individually, it's already a lot of work. But I have to select an item. So if I do not read them, how do I know what I'm selecting is what I like? So you are in a process of, if you have to do this, you need to invest a lot of time. If you don't do that, you just pick an item. This is not what is expected. So how do you walk the balance? Do you see the meaning of that? In life, we are often faced with a similar situations. Task analysis in the self-regulated learning tells us you have to learn how to analyze an assignment and determine what needs to be done. Although I invite you to select one item out of many under a specific question, but that is not an easy task by itself. I just didn't tell you that. I hope you understand that. Now we are stepping into it because it's very important. What does it mean? It includes drawing up the timeline for completion. Ask yourself, how much time do I have in order to get the whole job done? Write it down. Normally, 3 weeks. In the last learning contract, 4 weeks, because the first week is an extra. Breaking the task down into manageable tasks. If I were to finish all the artifacts as required here, what are the smaller pieces of work I need to do in order to get it done? Establish goals and a framework. What does it mean by framework? I don't have all the time I need in the world to get it done, so I put a frame in my timeline. I cannot do things before that, and I cannot do it after that because I have a lot of things not yet finished. So let me finish that first before I come to this. But when I finish doing it, I cannot do it forever because I have other things to do. So let me put a frame there in my timeline, and then I have to work. Frame plus work. Framework. Do you understand the meaning of that? You need to establish your goals. And with the goals established, frame, work it. Okay? If you just put a frame but don't work it, you're cheating. So you need to identify an audience that needs the information and all the findings. Imagine who needs this. If I need to prepare my journal, it's my partner who needs to read it because I want my partner's help to see if he can understand what I discovered for the question. Okay? Recognize similarity to the previous assignment. That's why you have the first learning contract. Now you come to the second learning contract. When you look at the other things, it's almost the same. But what are the differences? Reading lists are different. Topics are different. Now you're into the topics of information security and privacy. Okay? Identify resources. You have some experience here in the first learning contract, particularly when you walk into OIA. Remember, when you do the interpretation step, you are obliged to provide free relevant references to support the idea, the topics there. These are resources. And planning actions. Once you've got extra resources, does it mean you just put it here? No. The reasons why we get extra resources is because we need to use it to support our argument or to justify a claim. So we need to dig out from the relevant resources some facts which we can use to support our arguments. These are actions. 2 important skills. First, you must have the ability to identify the resources available to help you to get the task done, including understanding how much you know and what kind of skills you need. Self-knowledge and skills. The second is develop a plan of action to get it done. You may understand, as long as I know how to ride a bicycle, I can shorten my time to go to class in the new campus. Otherwise, I have to walk there. If I walk 50 minutes, if I ride a bicycle 5 minutes, so I need to learn how to ride a bicycle. But you say, I don't. I just know I need to ride a bicycle, but I never learned. You see the differences? You identify the resources of bicycle, but the action is you must ride a bicycle, but you never learn. So Taking action based on your planning consists of bringing together all the identified resources and execute the plan. If you believe you need to ride a bicycle to go to class on time, you need to spend time learning how to ride a bicycle. And then you need to perhaps rent a bicycle or buy a bicycle, so execute your plan. And then you need strategies. The strategies will be used to meet the learning class goal, and the process should be continuously monitored and modified by you. Update your plan as necessary. What is meant by strategy? Remember, you study project information literacy, and one of the videos is called strategies. What does it mean? Oh, I know. I need to ride a bicycle to shorten my time to travel around buildings in the new campus. But you know, we're still in the old campus now, and we never know when we're going to get to the new campus. So why not waste my time now? Strategy means you know how to budget your time and when you have to do that. Why, when it's going to be important. You see the meaning of that? And then assess actions and revising the plans. I don't need to do it now. Let me save some time. Perhaps after this course I'll do that. So you need to understand this is a cycle. Don't look down on these 4 points. Many of the college graduates with the credentials, college graduate, do not even know that. And oftentimes in the interview, when people ask you, can you share with me what you did in college? Have you done any project? Oh yes, I did. Tell me what is the project? And you do it alone or you do it with friends? Oh, of course, we do it in teamwork. Okay, have you had any meetings? Oh, of course, we have a lot of meetings. Could you show me where you did it? I have a report. Don't you have a website to keep track of your work? We decided not to do this to waste time, okay? So, can you tell me a little bit about your portions of the work? What's the most difficult things? I have a report with me. I have to identify points of that. Thank you. Next. So, see the meaning. Today, when we walk into an interview, we bring an iPad. We want to see something, okay, let me just pass my e-portfolio to you, just look at it. This is one example of my project in year 1, one example of my project in year 2. But you want, oh, I have so many courses, each course I have a project, so if you, how much time are you going to give me? And then the manager will say, wow, I don't even have your credential. A lot of the students from City University of Hong Kong are doing exactly that. They walk through the process of doing all of these things, and when they go to see, have an interview, they bring an iPad and show to the screen, oh, this is my work. You can use your work in the Moodle environment later. This is the course I went through. This is what my professor did for me, and this is what I did for my professor. Okay? And this is my journal. This is my discussions detail. This is my report. This is my draft. Okay? You are in a very competitive world today. So, how do you do that? Well, the professor asks us to do inquiry-based learning. The professor asks us to do self-regulated learning. Oh, you're doing all the project management skill we are doing here in this project group. Oh, really? I don't know this. I think it's something basic. Oh, basic. You're highly competent. People will say that. So don't look down on things like this. These are very important things. Okay? So now, concentrate on these 4 important areas of task management. When you walk through your second learning contract, self-regulated learning, the challenges a new set of topics each week for 3 weeks. And these topics are core topics of information security in class. And remember, in each week's journal, you share the topic with your learning partner, okay? Because it's more than what it's used to be. So you need to talk to your learning partners and start looking for a pair to be merged with your pair to form a team, okay? So I'm going to stop here today. Unfortunately, I think I need to go through that at the end of each learning contract. It's very important. You don't just take it and forget about it, okay? And let me take attendance now. All right, Christy. Christy, thank you. Shannon, thank you. Amelia, thank you. Michael. Michael is not here today. Jacqueline, thank you. Antonio, thank you. Stopsy, thank you. Ivy, thank you. Mandy, thank you. Thomas, yes. Angie, not here. Lampard, thank you. Tihian, thank you. Julia, thank you. Lauren, not here today. Peter, yes. Thank you very much. Now, please help complete the questionnaire. It's a very important refractive piece, refractive learning, okay? If I could, before you go, okay, take a look at the topics. These are the topics for day number 8, and the following are the topics for day number 9. I want you to know at least what is meant by ethical hacking. Hack is an act of intrusions, okay? Or is an act of getting access to something which is not supposed to be. But how can we justify hacking? If it is justified, we call it ethical. That means you do this for some good reason. Okay? In today's world, we have to do this through a concept. We call it in Chinese 以斗攻斗. Okay? You know, hack means they have very skillful people. They have all the technique to intrude in your system. So we use the knowledge to help us to discover our weaknesses. Okay? And with that discover, we try to enhance it. So study the videos there, and then just give you 3 more minutes off. If you understand the meaning of that, you should be able to understand what is meant by refractive learning. for staying behind, and I'll see you next week. All right? Rewatch those videos. It's excellent. Okay? Simple, straightforward. Thank you. I'm sorry today I didn't give you the microphone. Next lesson. Please sign up, okay, after today. Okay? All right? Thank you. Thank you. What's that? Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. Actually, tonight we are going to show a movie here called Three Idiots. Have you watched the movie called Three Idiots?
India. Yes. From India.
Yeah. This one. Have you watched that?
Yes.
It's very good. We're going to station tonight at 7:30 here.
Here.
Yes. I have invited some out of my students.
I want you to read.
Yes, that's great. Maybe sometime we watch this video and we talk about it here. All right? It's very interesting. See you next week. So that's it for today's CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, on day number 9, March the 14th, 2014.